Hey guys, today we're going to do some fun stuff. We're doing our quick list. And we're going to use the first initial of our name, and we're going to do 5 things that start with that first initial. Right now I'm just dividing up my page, and that's a water brush filled with acrylic ink in black. Now I have a list of all the supplies that I use on my blog with links to those products. So if you're curious about what I'm using, you can always find that. Just go to my blog and go to the Art Journal tab at the top. And now some black paint. I started my page with gesso today because I have watercolor paper on the right and paper bag on the left. And the gesso helped to unify those two papers so that everything reacts the same when I put it on. I don't have too much black, so I'm just wiping it off on my scrap paper that I have between this page and the next one in my book. I didn't really have a plan, I just filled in some of the areas. And so here's where I decided to go ahead and fill in that one as well. That gives me 3 on each page. And of course the tip of that top one over on the left page as well. Now I've dried it, and we're doing Neocolor 2s, and I'm scribbling it on, and I'm scribbling it a lot heavier than I usually do because I want a really vibrant color there. And that's yellow ochre. And plain water on the brush. And there was enough left on the brush from that one area to fill in the next one, but it's still not as vibrant as I want. Now I'm taking some out with a baby wipe and then squishing it around with my finger because I want some more texture. Just a solid color is kind of boring. Now this is a really bright green Neocolor, and the same yellow ochre at the edges. Right there I just took my baby wipe and pulled a little spot of black paint that was wet off the page so that it didn't get into my Neocolor area. And it got there anyway. That's okay. I'm adding more of the yellow ochre all the way around these sections. I just think it'll give it more oomph to have a second color in there and to blend and be more grungy towards their edges. What happens when I'm hitting that with my finger is the paint pulls up under my finger. It pulls and draws it to where I've touched the paper, so that gives it a darker spot there. Try it, you'll like that trick. That is a white charcoal pencil. I love it for sketching on paint, especially if you're using this black craft paint, because it's got a tooth to it, so it works like a chalkboard. It's awesome. I'm just mixing ultramarine and white and doing a dry brush effect over the black. There's not much paint on my brush, and I'm just barely touching the page. And I'm going over it many, many times to move that color off. A couple of drops of pink and a couple drops of white, and I'll mix that up and do the same thing in the next section. Now my brush is slightly damp, but I've squeezed all the excess water out that I could with a cloth. You can see it leaves a rough texture, and you can see the black through the paint. I really like that effect. And it's a good time to practice putting out drops of paint instead of pools of paint. When you use your Goldens or your Liquitex, your artist colors, you don't want to put that much out at a time. I'm just repeating those colors, and then we're going to do one that just pops. We're going to do plain white on the one that's on top here. Well, on top of the other two, I mean. In the middle of the page. You know what I mean. So now I'm back to my aqua brush or water brush with the black ink in it, and I'm just kind of going around the edges and cleaning them up just a bit to make sure that there's a definition between the areas. Same brush, and I'm going to sketch 5 things that begin with my initial, which is T. You can use photographs, you can use collage, you can print images, stamp things on. If you do this prompt, you can use just about anything. And no, I'm not going to tell you what this one is. I'm going to see if you can guess. You'll find out by the end of the video. You notice how I was moving the brush before I actually touched it? It gives me a chance to practice making that stroke without actually doing it. So give that a try when you're sketching. And it's okay if you're going over the lines more than once or areas are thicker than others. It's really not a problem. Okay, how many people guessed golf tee? Can you see me thinking there, trying to decide what I'm doing? This is a Zen Doodle pattern. My friend Liz uses this one all the time. Excuse me, and I love it. Well, not all the time, but I've seen her use it several times. Back to the charcoal pencil, and it's a great way to practice before you put your ink or your paint on the paper and decide where your lettering and things are going to be. And if it's not right, brush over it with water, wipe it off with a cloth. It's perfect. Now I went ahead and dried that before I moved over to set the letters up just a little further to the left. Now the sketch that you create here with the charcoal pencil, whether it's white or black, it's just an outline. When I go over it with my dip pen and my ink, I can change those lines any way that I want. You hear my puppy in the background? I don't know if you can, she's whining. She usually does that when my husband's coming home. Then we draw on the number and there we go. Have a great day, guys.